Hey everyone, it's Louie. Welcome back to Louie Ventures. In today's video, I'll be doing a recap of a recent flight that I took on Air France's new Airbus A350-900, departing from Houston George Bush Intercontinental and arriving in Paris Charles de Gaulle. Without further ado, let's get into it. The flight time is scheduled for 9 hours and 7 minutes with departure at 3:50 p.m. in Houston time and arrival scheduled for 8:15 a.m. Paris time. The boarding process was overall pretty good. It was a little bit lengthy at times, but I would say probably within 10 or 15 minutes from the time boarding started, we were in our seats and getting our carry-on stowed away and our seats comfortable for the flight. If you are planning on taking one of Air France's international long-haul flights, do make sure to check the seat map and the type of aircraft that you're flying, as this one is specific to the Airbus A350-900. The seat does recline. Fortunately for us, the row behind us only had one person in it, and they actually laid down across all three seats for most of the flight, so we were able to recline our seats and had a very comfortable experience on the flight. When you arrive to your seat, you'll be greeted by a pillow, blanket, and headphones. I'll start off with the headphones, and honestly they weren't that great of quality, didn't have really high expectations going into it. No noise cancellation, and the sound quality was subpar. Definitely had to turn up the volume to max volume on the entertainment screen just to be able to hear dialogue. So once my wife fell asleep, I ended up using her Sony WH-1000 XM4s, which did a great job of blocking out the airplane engine noise as well as some of the other noise in the cabin. The pillow was pretty good. I would say it was pretty fluffy, and definitely put it to use, and was able to get a couple of hours of sleep on the flight between the reclining seat and then the pillow and blanket, which kept me comfortable. One of the highlights of the flight was definitely the Air France safety video. I just love the creativity that they put into it, and honestly, this is a part of the flight that most airlines overlook, and I think this is definitely something that helps make Air France stand out. After about 20 minutes or so of boarding, we departed Houston and were on our way to Paris. After the safety video concluded, I was prompted on screen with instructions on how to pair my device with the in-flight entertainment monitor. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get mine working. I don't know if that was just due to user error or if there was an issue with the in-flight entertainment system itself. Shortly after departure, the cabin crew came around and began passing out refreshing wet towels, which had a very relaxing scent to them, not too overpowering. The tray table was a decent size as well and had the ability to pull forward and push backwards. I will say once dinner service started, it got a little cramped, but I think this is pretty standard for an economy seat. Jumping into some of the in-flight entertainment, you can see there's a clock there on the screen that shows the time in Paris as well as the time in Houston, which is very handy for keeping track of the time difference. Probably one of my favorite parts of the in-flight entertainment was the interactive map that showed the plane and the route that we were flying on from Houston to Paris. There are quite a few different views, and I'll go through each one of them here for you guys. And I will say that it did take a little bit of time to load up the map, but once it was loaded up, the overall user experience was pretty smooth. I also enjoyed clicking on the different destinations that Air France serves and exploring those destinations. There's some pretty cool details about all of the cities that Air France flies out of. The night view is probably my favorite view and the view that we kept up most of the flight. I just love that the map shows you which part of the world is getting hit with sunlight and which part is in the dark. It also helped us keep track of when we could expect to see the sunlight when we had our window shade closed. I think my second favorite part about the in-flight entertainment was definitely the camera, which had a tail view and then also a underbody view of the airplane. This made for some scenic views while you're flying in the air. Air France did offer Wi-Fi on the flight, and it came in 3 different options. The message pass was included at no cost. The surf pass was 18 euros and allowed you to do some light web browsing and check emails. And the stream pass was 30 euros and allowed you to stream movies and TV shows at a higher internet speed. And here's the menu for our flight. We were offered the choice of chicken and mashed potatoes or a vegetarian chili and rice. There were also a variety of drinks offered on our flight, including champagne, wine, beer, sodas, juices, and hot drinks such as coffee and tea. Throughout the flight, there was also a self-service bar available in the galley that included water and some other drinks with ice that you could pour for yourself and a few snacks that you could grab. And looking at the entertainment options offered on our flight, I think Air France does a great job of offering a wide variety of genres of movies and TV shows. I did notice that the TV shows only had a few seasons with 1 or 2 episodes from each season, so I wouldn't recommend trying to binge watch one of the shows on a flight, but there was a wide variety of selection for the movies. Around an hour and a half or so into the flight, the cabin crew began dinner service, and both my wife and I opted for the chicken and mashed potatoes as our main, with a side of potato salad, a dinner roll, some butter, cheese, and a chocolate cake. Overall, I thought the meal was good. The chicken and mashed potatoes were cooked well and were very tasty. I wasn't the biggest fan of the potato salad, and neither was my wife, but the dinner roll and butter with cheese were a good combo, and the chocolate cake was also very good as well. I did also like that Air France provided wooden cutlery as part of their sustainability efforts. After dinner service concluded, the cabin crew dimmed the lights, and I noticed most people trying to get comfortable and get ready for some sleep. Looking out at the sunset, I felt a sense of gratitude to be able to experience something like this and look forward to hopefully many more of these types of experiences and being able to share them with you all here. Now I think is a good time to go and check out the bathroom. Stepping into the bathroom, you'll notice things are pretty cramped, but nothing out of the ordinary for an airplane bathroom. Have your standard soap and sink there to wash your hands, and have tissues as well as some air freshener. I do like the number of mirrors that are in the bathroom. There's 2 on the same side as the sink and a larger mirror opposite of the sink that helps to make the space feel a little bit bigger. After getting back from the bathroom, it was time to settle in for the night, and my wife and I decided to sync up our in-flight entertainment screens to watch Top Gun Maverick for the 3rd time. And before we knew it, the sun was completely set and it was totally dark out of the window. I was actually able to grab this pretty cool photo on my iPhone. I'll throw it up on the screen now so you guys can see it. After the movie ended, I got comfortable and tucked in for the night and got a couple hours of sleep. By the time I woke up, breakfast service had already begun. It's served in this brown paper bag, as you can see, which includes a fruit cup, a piece of bread, butter, some strawberry jam, strawberry kefir, orange juice, and an egg sandwich. I'm not too sure exactly what it's called. If you know, let me know down below in the comments. Overall, I would say the breakfast was okay, and I didn't end up finishing all of the items offered. Shortly after breakfast service concluded, we were flying over the English Channel and were beginning our descent into Paris, where we would arrive at Terminal 2E. This was my first time visiting Charles de Gaulle Airport, and I had already mentally prepared myself for navigating the airport, but thankfully we didn't have a connecting flight to catch this day. I will say though, if you are planning on having a connecting flight at Charles de Gaulle, try to give yourself at least a few hours in between to allow sufficient time to get through security and also navigate the airport. I gotta say, we were pretty excited to finally touch down in Paris. This was my first time in Europe, and my wife was pretty ecstatic to be back in Europe for the third time. Let's discuss the good and the not so good aspects of the Air France economy class flight that I took. I'll start off with the not so good. Honestly, the headphones that were provided by Air France were terrible, and I would strongly recommend bringing your own headphones on board. Not only was the sound quality not so great, but they actually malfunctioned on us on our return flight and started making a really loud, staticky, crackling noise, which just made them totally unusable. And my wife and I definitely learned a lesson, and we'll be bringing our own headphones on future flights like these. The next thing that I want to mention are the seats. And I actually have these included in the not so good and the good section of this video. But I do want to call out that because the seats recline so much, if the person in front of you reclines their seat, but you keep your seat upright, then the space in front of you becomes compressed significantly, and you're almost forced to then recline your seat even if you don't want to. Another not so great part of the flight was the breakfast. And to be honest, I was really looking forward to breakfast when I woke up. But unfortunately, there just weren't any options to select from, and I personally wasn't a big fan of the items offered during breakfast, but I still ate them just to get my money's worth and also to avoid getting hungry an hour or two after we landed. I really wish Air France would have at least included a croissant. I mean, this is the French flagship airliner, but maybe that'll be a change that they implement in the future. And lastly, there were only a few episodes of TV shows that were available on the Inflight Entertainment system, so if you plan on binge watching any TV shows on the flight, then I would recommend downloading those episodes on your device at home prior to the flight. Next, let's talk about the good. The crew service was very friendly and French, as you'd imagine. It wasn't great, but it was nice. The crew did come by several times during meal service, once to drop off the meals, another time after the meals to collect trash, and another time to offer snacks and drinks as well. So if I recall correctly, maybe throughout the total flight it was around 6 times the crew came by. And then there were snacks and drinks available in the galley for people to go and do self-service at. Next thing I want to mention is dinner being tasty and honestly better than I expected. For a long-haul international flight in economy, my expectations going into the flight were pretty low, but honestly the chicken and mashed potatoes were cooked well and were very delicious, and the dessert was a nice finishing touch to the meal. I also want to highlight the wide variety of entertainment to choose from on the flight. There was plenty of TV shows and movies to select from, across many different genres, so I'm certain there's something in there for everyone. I do want to call out that this was my first long-haul international flight, so I don't have previous experiences to pull from, but I will say the pillow and blanket were surprisingly comfortable and did help me get decent rest on the flight. In that same vein, the seats did recline a good amount, which also helped me get some sleep. And lastly, I also want to highlight the high quality flight maps that offer different views of the flight path, as well as the exterior plane cameras. That was its own form of entertainment in and of itself, honestly. Now it's time to talk about the part that everyone's been waiting for. How much did I pay for one round trip ticket from the US over to Europe? I was able to score a great deal on tickets by taking advantage of Air France's loyalty program, Flying Blue. The total cash price I paid for one round trip economy ticket on Air France from Houston over to Europe was $230.10. That's right. I don't know about you, but that is pretty good value if you ask me. And I'll be posting a follow-up video doing a full deep dive on how I was able to find and book this deal and how you can find deals like this one. So make sure to subscribe and turn on the post notification bell to stay up to date when that video is posted. As we land the plane here, I hope you guys enjoyed coming along this flight with me, and I look forward to taking more flights like these in the future and sharing those experiences with you all. As always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the post notification bell so you never miss an update. Look forward to seeing you in the next video, and take care.